Welcome back to my channel. All right, today we're going to ask ourselves, if we did have a vaccine for the coronavirus or COVID-19, could a state force you to take that vaccination? All right, that's hypothetical because I don't think we have a vaccine right now. We're just asking this hypothetical question. Okay, so states have really broad police powers, and they can use those to enforce laws having to do with the health of its citizens. The one thing that keeps those laws in check is the U.S. Constitution. Bang! So, what we want to do is ask ourselves, okay, what kind of checks does the U.S. Constitution have on a state enforcing mandatory vaccination laws? All right? We have two cases that we're going to look at. First, Jacobson v. Massachusetts in 1905. It was 1902, and there was a smallpox surge in Cambridge. And so the city enacted this order that required all adults to be vaccinated against smallpox. Well, Jacobson didn't want to, so he said no. This went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court said, yeah, this is constitutional. They can force you to have a mandatory vaccination for smallpox, and it does not violate your 14th Amendment rights. The other case, Zucht v. King, 1922 in Texas. That had to do with a law that required students to be vaccinated before they could enroll in school. Again, this went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court upheld that law, saying, yes, that is totally fine. You can require school children to be vaccinated before they can enroll in school. Okay? So in the specific cases of Jacobson v. Massachusetts and Zucht v. King, the U.S. Supreme Court did not find any constitutional violations. So if we go back to the state's power, they have this broad power, but most states do give you exemptions. Some of the general exemptions that I've seen have to do with medical, religious, or philosophical. Now that varies state by state, so it really depends on where you live. If you have questions about it, go talk to a lawyer in your area and get legal advice from them, because this is not legal advice. This is just Wes screwing around. So back to my original question. If we had a vaccination for the coronavirus or COVID-19, could a state have mandatory vaccination laws for that? I think so. I mean, based on my research and what I've read, it seems like the Supreme Court would uphold that, and those kind of laws would be found constitutional. But again, most states have exemptions, so it depends on where you live. Just remember, this is not legal advice. If you do need legal advice, go talk to a lawyer. This was just a hypothetical question that I'm just sharing some thoughts with you about. Thank you for watching, you guys. Please subscribe to my channel, comment, like. Until next time, see you later. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi, my name is Wes. How are you? Good. Shove it! Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. And it doesn't violate your 14th Amendment right. 14th. Fudge! These mandatory vaccinations, these mother frickers. Was that okay?
Yeah.
Just